Hello students, we are going to continue learning the third module of our subject, Python application programming. If we look at the syllabus, we have finished the first module in which we have studied the introduction to Python. We have studied how to write Python programs, what is the syntax of writing these Python programs. We have studied about variables, expressions, statements, conditional statements and functions. In the second module, we studied about the different iteration statements of Python, that is the while loop, the for loop and so on. We studied about strings, and then finally we studied about files. In the third module, we are going to study with, we can start with lists. According to the textbook, this is chapter number 8. Then after studying the concept of lists, we will be studying what are dictionaries, we are going to study what are tuples, and then finally what are regular expressions. Let us start with lists right now. A list, by definition, is just like a string. A list is a sequence of values. In a string, the values are characters. In a list, they are of any type. The value of a list are called as elements, or sometimes they can also be referred to as items. There are several ways to create a list. The simplest is to enclose elements in square brackets. So the best way to start learning is by taking an example. We will open Notepad, and then I will start typing a program here. For example, if you want to declare a list called as L1, I simply write L1 is equals to into square brackets and then define the element of the list. Let the first element of the list be 11, second let it be equals to 22, third let it be equals to 33, fourth element let it be equals to 44, and I said that a list can contain elements of any data type, so it can also contain a floating point number 3.5. It can also contain a string as an element, and then it can also contain another list, 3, 4, 5. So this is another item or element of a list, which is another list. So a list can contain another list also. So the elements of the list can be either integers, floating point values, strings, or another list. Now that you have declared a list, now let us see how to use a list. A list can be, the elements of the list can be accessed using an index. The first element of the list can be accessed at index 0. The second element of the list can be accessed at index 1, and so on. Let us take an example. I will simply first print the list, that is L1. I print the list L1. And I'll save this program first, file, save. I will save it in the D drive. I have a folder here called as mmec python, and in this I'm going to save my list called as lst underscore example.py. Save it. It's asking me, you want to replace it? I say yes, please replace it. Now that I've saved the program, I will open command prompt. I'll open command prompt and go to the command prompt, and then here I will go to the D drive, and then I'll run the program by typing Python. Now I need to first go to the folder cd mmec python. Then I need to execute the program by typing Python space lst example.py. So when I executed the program, you can see that it displayed me the list. I first declared the list here, and then I printed the list. So you can see that it printed the values of the list. Now remember, I'm printing the entire list, I'm not printing the element of the list. For example, you want to print the first element of the list, I need to do print L1 of 0. And save the program, file save, go back to here, and then execute the program. You can see that it displayed me the first element of the list, which is at index 0. And then if I want to display the second element, I simply type L1 1, save the program, go back here and execute the program, Python lst, then you can see that it displayed me the second element of the list, and so on. This is how you can access. So now if I want to display hello, I need to write L1 of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And just need to write here 5. It should display me hello here, because that is the, you can see that it displayed me hello. That is the sixth element in the list at index 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sixth element at index 5. So that's why I displayed print L1 of 5. Now that we saw what is a list, how to declare a list, we saw how to access elements of a list, let us learn few of the properties, few of the features of lists. Remember that lists are mutable, which means that values of a list can be changed. Values of a list can be changed. If I open my program once again here, if I go to the program which I had just now typed, open this in Notepad, you can see that I have 11 as the first element of the list, 22 as the second element, and so on. When I said that lists are mutable, it means that I can change the third element of the list. I can change the third element of the list. This is unlike strings. In a string, when you declare a string, you cannot change character of a string. They are immutable. But here in a list, I can change the value of a list. If my first element is 11, second element is 22, third element is 33. Now I wish to change the third element to 3.3. I can do that. How to do it? It's quite simple. I just need to do L1 of third element. It is available at index 2. So I simply write L1 of 2 is equals to 3.3. Okay, it's as simple as that. I simply write L1 of 2 is equals to 3.3. I wish to change the third element of the list from 33 to 3.3, and then I display the list. Okay, print list. So file, I save the program. I go to my program, I execute this. So now you can see that it has changed the value of the list. It was declared with 11, 22, 33. I changed the third element of the list from 33 to 3.3, and then I finally displayed the value of the list. So it displayed me 11, 22, 3.3, 44, 33.5, hello, and the last element is another list. So this is the meaning of saying that a list is mutable. When you say that a list is mutable, it means that you can actually change the values, you can change the items, the elements of a list at any given time. You simply need to remember which index or which element of the list you want to change, and then simply assign it that value. The previous value will get deleted, and it will be replaced with the new value. Let us take a few more examples of mutable lists. I have this list here, 11, 22, 33, 44, and so on. I want to first, after I have declared the list, I will print the value of the list. Print L1. So this will display me the list before it is changed, and then I change the third element. I wish to change the fifth element. I wish to change the fifth element also, which is hello right now. I want to change it to let us say some integer value. I want to replace it with 100, and then I again want to display the value of the list. So I display it by using the print statement, print L1. I save the program. I go back to the command prompt. I executed the list. So you can see that 11, 22, 33, 44, 3.5. This is the list before it is changed. And then after it is changed, I display the value of the list once again. So you can see that the third element is 3.3 from 33, and it was hello. Now it is changed to 100. This is what is the meaning of mutable lists. A list elements can be changed. That's the reason why they are called as mutable. The values of a list can be changed. After we have learned what is the meaning of a list, we have taken some examples of a list. Let us now learn how to traverse a list. The meaning of traversing a list is that how to access individual elements of a list within a loop, or as it is with using square brackets. You know how to use it. If I write L1 of 2, it will give me the third element of the list. If I say L1 of 5, it will give me the sixth element of the list. Individually, you can access it like this by using an index. But if you want to traverse it, you want to start from the beginning till the end. How do we traverse a list? How do we access each element of the list in a loop? That is quite simple. Now what we do is, for simplicity, let us declare the list once again. I will declare it a little simpler list. I'll get rid of this. And then we use the for in. We use the for in statement, the looping statement, for in statement, to traverse the list. So we use for x in L1, for x in L1. Now since this is a loop, you have to write the body of the loop one tab space inside. You have to indent the statements one tab space inside, and then you have to start using the value of x. Now this loop body, whatever you write here in the body of the loop, will get executed the number of times. So you can see here that in the for loop here, whatever statements you write, the body of the loop will get executed. The number of times, how many elements are there in the list, how many elements we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 elements. The body of the loop will get executed 6 times, and in each iteration the value of x will be the element of the list. So in the first iteration of the loop, the value of x will be 11. The second iteration of the loop, the value of x will be equals to 22. In the third iteration of the loop, the value of x will be equals to 33, and so on till all the elements of the loop are over. So we can use this to display the value of the elements. So if I say print x like this small program will display all the elements of the list. File, save. If I go and execute the program, first I will clear the screen and execute this. You can see that it displayed me 11, 22, 33, 44, 3.5 and hello, which means that the body of the loop executes 6 times, and in each iteration of the loop, x takes the value of the element of the list. In the first iteration, x takes 11, so when I say print x, it displayed me 11. In the second iteration, the value of x is 22, so it displays me 22, and so on till all the elements are over. Once all the elements are over, the loop stops. This is how the for loop works. Now if I want to write a program to display the average of, let us take an example of we have, let us say, 4 elements in the loop, in the list, sorry, we have 4 elements in the list, 11, 22, 33 and 44. What I wish to do is I want to display the sum of all these elements. So for that, what I do is first I declare a variable called as sum, initialize it to 0, and then here I simply do sum is equals to sum plus x, and then finally print sum. So if you have a look at this program, I have a list here declared with 4 elements. First I initialize the value of sum to 0, and then I go into the loop. You know that in the loop the value of x will be elements of the list. In the first iteration it will be equals to 11, second iteration it will be equals to 22, then 33 and then finally 44. And I'm adding that to a variable sum, and finally the sum of all these numbers gets accumulated and then gets saved into sum. So sum is equals to sum plus x is the syntax for adding all the elements of the list and then simply display the value of sum. Let us save the program. I save, I go to command prompt, and then so the sum of all these elements is 110, which are displayed by using the print statement. Similarly, let us take another example where we would want to find the average of all the elements of the list. So for that, what we do is we declare a variable called as sum, which we initialize it to 0, and then we take a for loop for x in L1 colon, and then we simply write as sum is equals to sum plus x, and then let us declare a variable called as average. avg is equals to, it is sum divided by the number of elements of the list. How do we find the number of elements of the list? We simply use len function. Len function we use len of L1. Okay, so when I write len of L1, it will give you the length of the list, it is 4, and then I divide it with the sum of all the elements. I get the average, and then finally I want to display the value of average, so I print avg, file, save, and then print avg, and then when I executed the program, you can see that it is 27.5. That is the average of all the elements of the array. Okay, this is how we traverse the elements of a list by using the for in loop. It's quite simple. In the examination, you can expect a question. They can ask you to write a program to demonstrate the use of for in loop on lists, and then they may ask you a specific program to be written. They will ask you to write a program to find the average of elements of a list, or they will ask you to find the average of all the even numbers of the list, all the even elements of the list, and so on. So you will have to use this for in loop, and then you have to find the sum of the elements and the average of the elements. Now that we have studied how to traverse a list, the next step is to learn the different operations that we can perform on lists. Lists can be concatenated, and to concatenate a list we can use the plus operator. I will open the program once again. So you can see here that I have a list called as L1, which is 11, 22 and 33. Similarly, I will define one more list here called as L2, which is equals to, let us say, 55, 66 and 77, 3 elements. And then I want to concatenate these two lists, and I want to create a new list called as L3. Let's see, L3 is equals to L1 plus L2, and then I write print L3. So it should actually display me the concatenation of the two lists. So I declared L1 as 11, 22, 33, 44, and L2 is 55, 66 and 77. L3 is L1 plus L2. I am concatenating them using the plus operator, and I print the value of L3. So to save the program, if I save it, and then I go to the command prompt, I go to the D drive, I go to MMEC Python, and then to run the program I type Python space lst example.py. And you can see that it displayed me L3, which is equals to 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, 66 and 77. So it has concatenated the two lists and formed one list. So this is how we can concatenate lists by using the plus operator. Now after the plus operator, which actually concatenates the two lists, let us see how to use another operator, which is the asterisk operator. The asterisk operator is used to use the lists multiple times. That best can be understood by using an example. If I have a list like this, L1 is equals to 11, 22, 33, and if I want to create a new list called as L3, which is equals to L1, and then use an asterisk here 3 times. Now it replaces the value of L3 will be equals to L1 3 times. The asterisk 3 here indicates that I want to repeat this list 3 times. The asterisk operator is the repeat operator. I want L1 to be repeated 3 times, so I write L1 star 3 or asterisk 3 and I put it into L3. Now L3 will be 3 times L1. So if I save this program and I run this program, you will see that L3 is 11, 22, 33, 44, 11, 22, 30, 44 and 11, 22, 30, 44. So it creates a new list 3 times the original list, and then it puts it into the new list. So the asterisk operator here is used for replicating a particular list for some number of times and then creating a new list out of it. So what we have studied in list operations, we have studied that we can concatenate concatenate lists by using the plus operator, and we can use the asterisk operator or the star operator to replicate a list multiple number of times. The next concept is slicing a list, which is very important from your examinations point of view. If I have a list, can I slice a list? Can I start from a particular element of a list containing some variable? Okay, so in slicing of the list, what we are going to study is how do we extract part of the list by using the slicing operator. Let us take an example. take an example. Let us open the same file which we have created called as lst_ex, which is under MMEC folder, MMEC Python. Then we have your lst_ex. Okay. So I open this file here, and then let us say I have a list called as 11, 22, 33, 44, and 55, 66, 77, 88, and 99. Okay. So I have a list which contains 9 elements, and I want to slice this. I want to extract part of the list. So to use that, we use the slice operator. We can very well create a new list. Let us say called as L3, which is equals to, I want to slice this list now. I write L1, and then you need to write indexes from where you want to start slicing the list till what index you want to slice the list. I want to start from this element here. I want a new list to be created which should contain 33, 44, 55 only. So 33 is present at what index? It is present at 0, 1, 2, 30, 0, 1, 2. Second, 2 is the index of this element here. So I write starting from index number 2 till 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till 5, fifth index. So now L3 will be equals to a new list which will contain part of the main list L1, and it will start from index number 2 till index number 5, but not including index number 5. So my list L3 will be equals to 33, 44 and 55, but it will not include 66. It will not include 66. It will not include the element present at index 5. And now when I display the value of L3, let us see what it displays. So I save the program. I go back to the command prompt here, and then I type the execute Python program, Python space lst example. So now you can see that it displayed me 33, 44 and 55. It started from element number 2, 0, 1, 2, including 2, including the element at index 2, till the element at index 5, but it will not include the element at index 5. You can see very clearly that 66 is present at index 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have written 5 here. It did not include 66. My list started from 33, 44 and 55, and it displayed only 3 elements here. If I write here 6, starting from the second index till the 6th index, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 index is 77. It will not include 77. It will display it only till 3. It will display it only till 66. So when I save the program, I go back here, I execute the program. You can see that it now created a new list from the main list containing a part of it starting from the second index till the 6th index, but not including the 6th index. Let us take another example. I want to start from this element. I want to create a new list containing 11, 22 and 33. So for that I need to start from the 0th index, 0, 1, 2, and it write 3 here. So till index number 3, but not including index number 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. It will not include this. So my list now will contain 11, 22 and 33. File, save it and execute the program. So you can see that it displayed 11, 22 and 33. So this is how we can slice a list to extract part of the list starting from any index you want till any index you want. One more thing to remember here is that if you are extracting the list, a part of the list, starting from the first element, you either write a 0 here, or even if you don't write anything here, if you simply write L1, don't write anything here, put a colon and then an index till where it has to extract the element. If you don't write anything here also, it will still consider it from the first element. So if I execute this program, I saved it, and then you can see that it started from the first element. If I say nothing and 6 here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7 it will not come. From 11 till 66 it will display in the list. File, save it, and when I execute it here, you can see that it always starts from the beginning, because I did not mention from where it has to start. It will consider it to be started from the beginning, from the 0th index. So let us very quickly revise what we have done in this module here. We started with the 8th chapter, in which we have studied what are lists. We have seen how to declare a list using the square brackets. We have seen how to extract the elements of a list by using an index. Always remember that the first element of the list is accessed at index 0, and then we saw how to traverse a list using the for in loop. We studied how to we learned some of the operations that can be performed in a list, the concatenation operator, the repeating of list using the asterisk operator, and so on. And then finally we studied how to slice lists by using the colon here, how to slice list, how to extract part of the list from the main list. Now let us go forward and learn different methods available with lists, the different methods that are available in Python to work with lists. Let us study that. And the first function or the method which we are going to study is the append. The append method, we are going to learn the append method. The append method is used in a list to attach a new element to the list at the end of the list. Let us take an example. I have a list L1 which is equals to 11, 22, 33. Okay, and I want to attach a new element to the list, so I can very well use the append statement. I can simply write L1 dot a ppe and append into bracket, and then I can write here 44. What will this append method do is it will attach a new element, that is 44, at the end of the list. After I perform this, I print L1. Originally L1 is 11, 22 and 33, and then appended 44, value 44 to the list, and then finally display the value of L1. So I'll save this file, save, go back to the program here, and now you can see that it displayed me 11, 22, 33 and 44. So 44 also got attached to the list, but at the end, at the right hand side. Okay, at the end of the list, it attached a new element. So the append method is used for appending a new element to the list at the right hand side. Like how append statement adds an element at the end of the string, at the end of the list, we have another method here called as the pop method. The pop method is used for popping or removing one element from the end of the list. I can simply do, if I have a list like this, L1, 11, 22 and 33, if I write L1 dot pop, it doesn't take any parameters. If I write L1 dot pop, it will remove the last element of the list, put it into X, and then after that, what will remain in the list is only 11 and 22. So the pop method or the pop function will remove one element from the right hand side of the list. Let's take this file, save. If I come here and execute this, you can see that what remains in the list is only 11 and 22 because 33, the last element, is popped. It is removed from the list. And then whatever is removed will come into X. So if you want to display that also, you can display. Save the program, save, go back here and execute it. So it displayed me 33. It displayed me 33 because 30x, I displayed the value of X, and X is equals to the last element that is popped from the X. So the pop function will return the element that is popped from the list and then puts it into a variable. You can use that in your programming if it is required. And then finally what remains in the list is the list without the last element. So if I do this pop L1 dot pop, and then I write X is equals to L1 dot pop. If I call the method pop on L1 3 times, this first pop will remove the first element, and what remains is 11 and 22. The second pop will remove the second element, which is nothing but the last element of the list, and similarly the last pop will remove the last element from it. And then after that, if I print what is there in L1, hopefully nothing should remain. So if I go here and display, you can see that there is an empty list because the 3 pop method has removed all the 3 elements of the list, and then what remains in the list is nothing. So you can see that the pop function or the pop method removes the element from a list from the right hand side. We also have the extend method related to lists. The extend method will add new elements to the list. Let us take an example. If L1 is 11, 12 and 22, I want to declare L2, which is equals to L1 dot extend and let the L2 be equals to (44, 55 and 66). This function does not return anything. Let's say L1 dot extend L2. So I have L1 which is equals to 11, 22 and 33, and L2 is 44, 55 and 66. I say L1 dot extend L2. Now all the elements of L2 will be attached to L1, and then after this, if I print L1, I save the program file, save it, and then where I go, clear the screen first and then execute this program. You can see that now I am displaying value of L1 which is equals to 11, 22, 33, 44, 55 and 66. So the extend method attaches the list to an already existing list, and then the number of elements in the original list will increase from 11, 20, 33 to 11, 22, 33, 44, 55 and 66. That is what will get displayed here.